Hello, welcome to the presentation for Developmental Disabilities Program. And we want you to know a little bit about our program and what we do. We're all about inclusion, where everyone knows your name is our philosophy for at the school, at work, social activities, and in our neighborhood. That's what we're striving for. We're striving for connection by partnering with individuals, families, and providers to make inclusion a shared community effort, not just one person. And our goal is to have our community be person-centered, relationship-focused, and community-driven. We do 4 community awareness events. In January, we do a legislative forum, which we help inform and educate legislators on what policies will affect us and what our needs and challenges are. In March, we do Disability Awareness Month. In July, we do Disability Pride Month. And in October, we do National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And I am very, very fortunate that we have a team of great people with us. And so I am going to turn it over right now to another team member.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Jostin. I've been with the health department since 2021. I am, in addition to being the transition specialist, I'm the coordinator for the Children and Youth with Special Healthcare Needs program.
And then we have our newest addition.
Hi, my name is Hannah Thorpe. I'm a program assistant and a former transitional student.
So we got a great team. I'm very, very proud of them. We're just really want to be able to help the disability community be able to have all the opportunities and the services that they need. Through that, we do a community info ed and referral. Some of that is contracted out, and some of it we do in-house. And so I'm going to let Stephanie share a little bit about the community info services.
So what we really are focusing on is transition services throughout a person's lifespan. We want to provide or refer to supports for families during key life changes, like the beginning of their disability journey, birth to 3 services, moving from elementary school or junior high into high school, and then transition from high school to adult life, and then different changes that happen throughout adult life. We provide some of these services directly, and we also contract with other local organizations like South Sound Parent to Parent, who specialize in particular areas and have bilingual coordinators who can help support families and legislative connections. This ensures that families get the best services that are available in our community.
Thanks, Stephanie. So another thing that we do is called Community Liaison Services, and that is where we have our transition council has a team of people that will go to a student's IEP, individual education plan, or their 504 plans, and go and they bring a folder with them, and that is full of information at the time of that person where they are in that stage of their life. So if they are in elementary school, there may be a little bit different paperwork in there and stuff, resources. If they are 16 and over and getting ready to transition out of school, they're going to have different paperwork in there. But this is for a way for us to outreach to families who may not know what services are out there. It is amazing to us how many people do not know the services out there available to them. Ideally, we would love to be in everybody's IEP and 504 plan. We would love to have it start from the minute they start into school, from preschool on, so that we can help them with those stages all through. So anybody can call and say, we want community liaison there. It can be the school, it can be the parent, it can be the teacher. Anybody can call and request. And when they call and request, they call our office, and then Stephanie has a log of all the different people who are on our team, and she looks to see if that person is somebody who is getting ready for transition. Then she tries to send somebody such as herself, the transition specialist, or DVR, and possibly sometimes DDA. We always try to find out if the person is connected with, not DDA, it's Developmental Disabilities Community Services, so now it's DDCS. So we also try to have them go if we know that the person has not yet connected up with them, because connecting up with Developmental Disabilities Community Services is like having the golden ticket from the Willy Wonka show. So we really want them to be able to get connected up with that. So we do have our material for that packet, and it has a whole bunch of different resources in it, and it is both in English and Spanish that we hand out. So other than that, we do other stuff with the schools. We do a collaboration events, and we do a transition fair. And so I'm going to let Stephanie talk about the collaboration events.
So for our collaboration events, they are usually held at school, and students and families meet and talk with job coaches, service providers like DDCS and DVR. They're able to ask questions and gather information about services and resources that are available to support them while they're on their transition journey.
Yeah, so the collaboration events also is just so that people get more of the one-on-one when we have those. So like if somebody's coming and they are able to talk right there with Developmental Disabilities Community Services or Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, or an employment provider who provides supported employment services. So everybody can just go right to the place where they're at. It's kind of like the career days that they have at schools. So, and then we also have the transition fair. It's usually held in the springtime. We ideally try to have it at the college. We have guest speakers, we have vendors, we have trade schools come. There's usually a tour of the college, and then there's also workshops to help people prepare for their day after they get out of school, what different things there are available. And it's just a great event. Every time we have it, everybody who has came has really, really enjoyed it. And that is leading me into having Hannah, who has went to it a couple of times, once as a student, and then also she helped put it on last year. So we're going to let her be able to talk about that, as well as being able to talk about going through a transition program.
So, as a student being in the transitional program, I really enjoyed the transitional fair just because, one, it got me out of class, but it really opened my eyes to what different possibilities you could have and the different resources you can be in to help you throughout your journey in adulthood. When I was in the transitional program, mine was a little bit weird because I was in the era of COVID. So my transitional was doing the soft skills, like learning how to cook. They were helping me read through the book of driver's ed to help me with my bigger goals in life. And then my second year in transition was more about me going into the workforce a little bit and me figuring out the path of what I want to do for the rest, what career path I wanted to go down. I got the opportunity to be a TA at the local elementary school, where that was my first passion to be a teacher. But after 2 years of being a TA down at Emerson, I realized that I kind of don't want to go down the career path. But it helped me with my soft skills. It helped me with being there on time, doing office work based stuff. But it really helped me go down the path of what I really wanted to do and what would benefit with me. But after my time being in the transitional program, I accomplished a lot of things. I accomplished my my biggest goal was to get my license, and at September of that end of the year, I passed to get my license. Every transitional person will have a different way of doing stuff. I know with mine, I got to flesh out my schedule to do like one day at the driving ed class. I got to do some working. I got to do little things. I got to accomplish a big goal that I wanted to accomplish.
Thanks, Hannah. So we also have services called Individualized Employment and Community Inclusion Services. They start at age 22 and older. We highly recommend that students stay in the school system in a transition program until that time, because if not, you don't have a lot of services being provided for you from 18 to 22. And like Hannah said, your transition program can look completely different. You don't have to be going to the school in the classroom and continuing on. It's supposed to be preparing you for when you're done with school. So what I was always taught was the last day of school in a transition program should look like the first day of your life after that program. So in our individualized employment and community inclusion, both of these services are designed to understand each person's strengths, skills, gifts, interests, and preferences. This includes the number of hours they want to work or be active in the community, the type of job or community activity they prefer to do, whether that they like morning, afternoon, or evening schedules. And all of that sometimes is part of a discovery, because sometimes people really don't know what they want to do, just as Hannah was explaining that she thought she might want to be a TA, and then after experiencing it, she thought, well, nope, I really don't want to do that kind of work. I know for myself, I was the same way. I had like 4 jobs before I found out this is where my niche is. So that's all things that we discover. And then as far as the community inclusion, it's focused on building relationships. The community employment, the individual employment is about finding a job in the community that integrates you in. And the community inclusion is about finding a place that you like the same things that other people do and start building relationships, not based solely on having a disability in common or by being a paid staff, but instead a shared job task or work environment or common interests such as sports, gardening, volunteering, fitness, or church activities. So those are all things that we are focusing on. Hannah also has taken part in the employment services, and she will share her journey of how those services have opened up a door to meaningful work for her and new opportunities.
I'm in one of the programs for employment that is in Grace Harbor, and I'm going to choke up. And with the help with the different programs that I'm in, I got to be a part of. I'm not a person that needs truly help in the job. I just need help finding a position. And with my journey with one of the employment programs, they really support me in my passions. They really very supportive, and they're one of my cheerleaders. And like, I have a hard time with doing my resume, doing my doing all those stuff to help me get a job. And there's so many limited things that I could do. So it was really nice to get that little supportive help on helping me find a job. And it just been very supportive, and I'm very grateful for the program that I'm in.
So I have to say that one thing that Hannah also had told me, one thing, and that is truly important for all of our agencies, is how she felt so listened to and respected from the program that she's working with. And Hannah is truly right. Every individual, that's why it's called individualized employment, everyone is different. And so what support they need looks differently. But the job of the employment provider is to be able to find the employer who needs somebody to do a task, and then look at who they have and help them connect them up with that. And even though Hannah doesn't need as much hands-on support, I think Hannah is the model of what we want for everybody with disabilities. And it's kind of hard for people outside of the program to understand it. So like, the job of that employment specialist is to meet the needs of the employer, but not take the place of Hannah interacting with that employer and knowing. None of us have somebody else come and tell us what our supervisor wants. The supervisor tells us that. And so that's exactly what we're striving for with everybody who is in the program, to help that happen. It won't happen as much for somebody who needs a lot of support, but that's our goal, is to help that individual be as independent as possible in their workplace. And then also for Hannah to be able to be as independent in the workplace by interacting with her supervisors and coworkers and all of that. Did you want to say something, Hannah?
Yes. It took me about a year to get my position that I'm in now, but the program that I was in, every week when they were trying to help me look for a job, they were also helping me with my soft skills. They were helping me with my typing, my copying stuff. Even though when I was in the transitional program, I got a lot of support and help during that time. It was just nice that every week I went to a place to help me with those soft skills. And I don't think much people realize when they hear the employment program for disabilities with different employers. When they hear it saying, "Oh, I'm with this program that is helping with disabled people," it could range from that employer thinking, oh, that person's in a wheelchair, so what need to be happened. And I know that I had to go with my job coach to a couple of places and say, hey, I would like, here's my resume, here's what I'm like, to based off of different ways of disabled. And so it was really hard until living in this small community and knowing a lot of people. I had a lot of friends that kept putting into someone's ear saying, she's a hard worker, she's the person that you want to be, you want to employer with. And that's how I got my position, and I'm very grateful of that. I think I would be probably still looking for a job if that wasn't the case.
And I think that's another key thing too. I don't know many of us that got some of our jobs, most of our jobs, that didn't have somebody doing that for us that says, oh yes, that person would be great in this position. So that's what the employment provider does too, is they're kind of the cheerleader and the champion to help put that person in the door. And the other thing is, like, when Hannah is working here, her job coach doesn't come in here. She will talk to Hannah, has an appointments with her at a different time to talk about anything, like if Hannah feels challenges or whatever, she talks to her about how to handle that. So it's hard for people to go, I never see that employment person. Well, that's because you don't see an employment person with anybody else either. Those things happen only when necessary. The rest of the time, we are really trying to get Hannah and the employer to work together. So, do you have one more thing?
And you will have a job coach with you throughout your journey before and after you get a job. My job coach told me once, saying that we're here to be a helper if your coworkers can't help you because they're too busy, or be a second person to bounce ideas from. So.
Yeah, so those are two great services that we really, really enjoy seeing the outcomes of those two services in our program that just bring us a lot of joy. The other thing that we are just starting up is the disability movement. And there was always a disability movement in Grays Harbor. That's why we have all the services that we have now, why individuals are in the school systems, why we have residential housing for people to live in, why we have individualized employment, community inclusion, all sorts of different services. However, that's kind of went down the sidelines and didn't really get focused on. And so we at the health department and in the developmental disabilities program, we are revitalizing that back up, and it is for people with and without disabilities, for them to gather at a regular time to learn and share and lead together. And the core leaders of the movement will assist people in understanding the power of their stories and the strength of their voices and the ability to create change and as well as providing them the tools and support to make that happen. And so the movement builds awareness in two ways. For individuals, it makes them aware that assisting them in becoming leaders in groups they are part of and contribute to a stronger, more inclusive community. A lot of times people with disabilities have been put on boards and committees as a token. We have to have this person here, and they've really not been valued and used to the full of their full ability, because I can personally tell you, Hannah being part of our team has made our program grow leaps and bounds to hear her perspective. And anybody who is not tapping into that is missing out. So our job is to help those individuals find their stories, find their strength, find their voices, and become more on boards and committees and businesses and social activities so that we can make a more inclusive community. And for the community, we challenge people to look at the people they know within their organizations and activities, and to help them identify them and to help them become an active part in those roles. And so Hannah, along with, there will be 4 people who are spearing this on. One is a father who has been a part of the disability movement for a long, long time. He was part of a disability council for 6 years, and his daughter, who has significant disabilities, who has testified at the at legislation several times. And then we have our 2 new young people that are coming up, which is Hannah and Michaela. And so I'm going to let Hannah say a little bit about what she wants to say about the movement.
I think about the disability movement for an advocate is it's giving a person with a disability a voice when some people don't really have a voice or opinions or be turned away. So it gives the person being an advocate to have a voice in this movement. So, and I'm very grateful for this, because for the longest time when I was little and 5, I wanted to change the world. And so it gives me a little chance to voice out my experience, voice out my barriers, so I can make a difference for the next generation of people with disability, or my next generation of family members to see the world.
Thank you, Hannah. So I just thank you for your time, and just remember that the Developmental Disabilities Program is here for you, and we will help you from questions to connections, and we look forward to helping you on your journey.